The northeastern mountain ranges of present-day Iraq hold the legends of a glorious era, the era of the ancient Assyrian Empire and its central city, Ashur. Ashur, with its remarkable history and culture, shines brightly on the map of the ancient world, attracting the interest of archaeologists and historians from around the globe. In the journey of exploration into the city of Ashur, we will witness the great development of a civilization, while also gaining a deeper understanding of the power and downfall of an empire that once made its mark on the ancient world. Ashur is not just a city, it is also a symbol of human pride and arrogance, as well as the prosperity and decline of a mighty civilization. Let us embark on a journey to explore the city of Ashur and the mysteries behind its facade. The ancient city of Ashur, also known as Assur, lay nestled on the high plateau above the Tigris River, in the region of Mesopotamia. This strategic location was not only a vital hub on the trade route from Mesopotamia to Anatolia, but also where the legends and traditions of the Assyrian people began. In the book of Genesis of the Bible, considered an important source of information about Ashur's history, the city is said to have been founded by Ashur, the son of Shem, grandson of Noah, after the end of the Great Flood. However, another hypothesis suggests that Ashur may have been named after the god Ashur in the 3rd millennium BCE. The blending of history and religion in naming the city reflects the Assyrians' assimilation and reception of various cultural traditions. Ashur swiftly became a crucial commercial center, particularly due to its ties with the city of Karum-Kanesh in Anatolia. Its robust development led Ashur to become the capital of Assyria, although later capitals were established in other cities like Kalhu, Nimrod, Dur-Sharrukin, and ultimately Nineveh. Nonetheless, Ashur retained its significant role in honoring the great kings of Assyria. From the early days of the Assyrian Empire to its end, all these kings, except for Sargon II, whose body was lost in battle, were buried in Ashur, forming an indispensable part of the city's historical and cultural heritage. The land that is now northern Iraq, from the 2nd millennium BCE to the 7th century BCE, was the homeland of the Assyrians, a people who once expanded and then repeatedly contracted their territory. They not only regarded themselves as part of the earliest civilizations in human history, but also prided themselves on leading the progress of humanity. After the fall of the Sumerian Empire, the cities that were once part of Sumer split off to become independent Akkadian cities on both banks of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Ashur, one of these cities, was named after the ruling deity and became the religious center of Assyria. With the growth of Ashur, the god Ashur was increasingly revered. Temples dedicated to this deity were constructed on a grand scale, and the worship of the god became the focal point of the local populace's religious and cultural life. The image of the god Ashur, envisioned as a man wearing a cloak and a crown, often depicted in sculptures, symbolized the protection and prosperity of the city and kingdom. From the lush hills of present-day northern Iraq, Ashur witnessed the rise and fall of a people and a civilization. Though there were shifts in power and fortunes, the historical and cultural legacy of Ashur continues to exist and evolve, an indispensable part of the journey to understand the ancient civilization of humankind. As the city of Ashur grew in strength, the Assyrians expanded their territory under the leadership of King Shamshi-Adad III. He drove out invading Amorite tribes and defended the borders of the Ashur and Assyrian lands against further incursions. During his reign, the Grand Royal Palace was built, and the Temple of Ashur was expanded and developed into the form of a ziggurat. The city underwent significant development under the leadership of Shamshi-Adad, but later fell into the hands of Babylon under King Hammurabi. Hammurabi treated the city and inhabitants of Ashur well. He respected the gods and temples, but did not allow the city to trade with Anatolia anymore. This decision led Babylon to take over the trade route, somewhat enriching Ashur. Assyria during this time gradually had to trade with Babylon, weakening Ashur and diminishing its prosperity as it became a vassal state. When Hammurabi passed away in 1750 BCE, the region descended into chaos and civil war as city-states vied for control. Stability was eventually restored under the leadership of Assyrian king Adasi, but by then, the Mitanni kingdom had developed in western Anatolia and gradually expanded throughout Mesopotamia, holding Ashur as part of their territory. Ashur weakened it as a vassal state until Assyrian king Ashur-uballit I rose to power, defeating the Mitanni and seizing much of their territory. Assyria benefited from this victory by gaining control over the eastern part of the Mitanni Empire, and later, also annexing territories from the Hittites, Babylonians, and Hurrians. The Mitanni kingdom suffered significant losses from its golden age, since Hittite king Suppiluliuma I conquered them and replaced Mitanni rulers with Hittite officials. Ashur-uballit I defeated these Hittite rulers in battle, but could not completely overthrow their control over the region. The subsequent king, Adad-nirari I, conquered the Hittites and seized Mitanni territory to establish the early image of an Assyrian empire. Adad-nirari I led his victorious army across the region and sent spoils of war back to the city. Ashur prospered again and began to develop and expand once more. Adad-nirari I commissioned many construction projects in the city and renovated the walls. Consequently, Ashur became renowned as the capital of the Assyrian Empire. The son of Adad-nirari I, Shalmaneser continued to develop the city of Ashur and elevate its prosperity to the extent that he could also build the city of Kalhu, later known as Nimrud, which eventually became the capital. Shalmaneser I's son, Tukulti-Ninurta I furthered improvement projects and constructions. He built a new city named Kar-Tukulti-Ninurta, Tukulti-Ninurta's port, across the river from Ashur. According to historians, Kar-Tukulti-Ninurta is believed to have been constructed following Tukulti-Ninurta's plundering of Babylon in 1225 BCE, supported by inscriptions found at the site. Tukulti-Ninurta I began his city-building project early in his reign, perhaps because Ashur had little left to improve upon, and he wanted an impressive construction project to distinguish his reign from his predecessors. He renovated the Temple of Ishtar in Ashur and undertook other projects, but these were mere enhancements compared to what previous kings had accomplished. With ambition and a grand vision for himself, Tukulti-Ninurta I could only see a new city bearing his name as fitting for his purpose. While Kar-Tukulti-Ninurta was previously thought to have been built to replace Ashur as the new capital, this theory is no longer widely accepted among historians. Clearly, Tukulti-Ninurta I favored his new city, as he seemingly lavished large amounts of plundered wealth from Babylonian temples into his new palace and other projects in Kar-Tukulti-Ninurta. The king was assassinated by his son within the palace due to his actions toward Babylon, particularly the plundering of temples. After his death, his city was abandoned to make way for Ashur, which eventually fell into ruin. Ashur continued to be the capital and center of the empire until the later reign of Tiglath-Pileser I, who issued famous laws from the city and used revenues from plunder to renovate palaces and walls. Like his predecessors, he significantly expanded Assyrian territory through military campaigns, but after his death, the kingdom he built collapsed. Ashur remained stable during this period, and Tiglath-Pileser I's successors retained the land surrounding the city, though they lost more distant territories. With the rise of Adad-nirari II, the city once again prospered, and the Assyrian Empire began to flourish. Adad-nirari II reclaimed lost territories and expanded the empire further. Ashur became the center of the empire, with wealth flowing into the capital from conquests. Policies of deportation and resettlement of Assyrian populations also impacted Ashur, as scribes and scholars were often sent to the city to work in libraries, palaces, or schools, helping Ashur become a center of culture and scholarship. King Ashur-nasirpal II made the decision to relocate the capital from the ancient city of Ashur to Kalhu, but this move did not significantly impact the prosperity or importance of Ashur. Instead, Kalhu became an important center that was revamped and developed following Ashur-nasirpal II's successful campaigns. He may have chosen to establish a new capital for similar reasons, as Tukulti-Ninurta I did when building Kar Tukulti-Ninurta, to enhance his prestige and reputation compared to his predecessors. There was no compelling reason to change the capital from Ashur to Kalhu, especially considering the natural strength of Ashur and its defensive wall system. Ashur at that time had a solid reputation, and its inhabitants were proud of their city, identifying themselves as Ashurians. Therefore, some hypotheses suggest that Ashur-nasirpal II's capital relocation might have been to create a royal power center with a less proud and more manageable population. A tablet discovered amid the ruins of Kalhu describes the inauguration festivities of the new capital, where Ashur-nasirpal II hosted a celebration for 69,574 men and women from his kingdom over 10 days. Other inscriptions in Kalhu record Ashur-nasirpal II calling the new city the residence of royalty and the delight of my lord in all ages, as well as his planting of 41 species of trees around the new city and creating extensive canal irrigation systems. All these endeavors were undertaken to elevate the new capital above Ashur, yet there is no evidence of any decline in Ashur's status over the next 150 years as Kalhu became the capital. Ashur continued to be successfully defended during internal conflicts in the reign of Shamshi-Adad and underwent renovation projects under his successors. Tiglath-Pileser III enriched the city further and strengthened the wall system, with his successors doing the same. Sennacherib brought spoils from his Babylonian campaigns to Ashur. Although Nineveh was then devastated, his capital and palace were unmatched, and he invested in gardens, parks, and palaces in Nineveh, while still honoring the ancient city of his ancestors. Subsequent kings such as Esarhaddon and Ashurbanipal also continued to honor Ashur through gifts and building projects. However, with Ashurbanipal's death, the territories of the Assyrian Empire began to rebel, and the empire fell into decline. Ashurbanipal's successors could not halt the rapid collapse, and eventually the empire crumbled. The city of Ashur was destroyed in 612 BCE by a coalition of Babylonians, Medes, and Persians, along with the destruction of other Assyrian cities like Nineveh. Although Ashur was partially rebuilt and resettled later, it never regained its prosperity as in its golden age. Ashur was not only the residence of kings and gods, but also a center of learning and civilization. Its library contained valuable literary works and knowledge, helping to record and advance human understanding. Temples and palaces were built to honor gods and kings, creating a magnificent picture of Assyrian pride and power. While Ashur experienced many periods of turmoil and decline, its spirit and legacy lived on. The continuation of religious rituals and the honoring of historical kings are evidence of Ashur's enduring strength and vitality in the minds of Assyrians and those interested in the region's history. Ashur is not just a city, but also a symbol of a period of civilization and power, and understanding it is crucial to comprehend the history and culture of the ancient Middle East. What are your thoughts on the city of Ashur? Do you think it deserves to be the magnificent capital of the Assyrians? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to continue the journey of exploring ancient history with use. Thank you for your attention.